call several times for people here,
Pledge of
and the
allegiance
service that you have provided has been awesome.
to the front line.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. Item 1 on our agenda tonight is our consent agenda. I would like to ask that we remove item C for further discussion. And what is the pleasure on the rest of the
I
agenda?
have, like to have another item removed too for further discussion.
Yes, sir.
Item G,
Item G,
yeah.
got it.
Right.
So item C and item G are removed from the consent agenda for further discussion.
You want to tackle this first?
Okay, so we have a motion on the rest of the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. So for item C, we're going to ask Jamie Holtzman to come forward and speak to that.
Yes, sir. I would like to make a correction to budget amendment number 16 in relation to the part where it says appropriated donated funds to the sheriff's office budget for the purchase of 4 vehicles. That donated was left from a previous budget amendment by mistake. Those funds are not donated. They're just additional fund balance appropriated.
So it was just a typo.
It's just a typo. You take out the word donated and everything else is fine. So I apologize for that.
Thank you. Okay, let's go ahead and address item G, Lewisburg Real Property and Purchase. Who would like to speak on that?
I think, on item G, that's that, Lewisburg's piece of land that's right beside the Tar River. It's gonna go along with the new courthouse annex, I believe,
Yes, sir.
0.99 acres.
I think that's correct.
Yeah.
Actually, the total, attorney gives the exact total on the land.
Okay, my problem with that, we just come through a recent reevaluation last year, and it went up to 99,000. And now it's being looked at, I think, for 280,000 because Lewisburg thought it was way more, worth more than the 99,000. Even though that was a brutal reevaluation we had last year to get it up to 99,000, but they're wanting, 280,000 now. I don't think that's right. I disagree with that. They should give us that, or let us have it for 99,000 to accommodate them keeping the judicial center downtown. That's my feeling on that. It's taking us to the cleaners. But anyway, that's my opinion.
Just
I think somebody should speak to, staff should speak to what we actually decided to do there and what the outcome is, and not let it be left to interpret that we're paying $280,000 for this piece of property.
so if the board will allow me just to remind the board what you all agreed to in a discussion with the town of Lewisburg, we the 0.99 acres. As a part of that agreement, both the county and the town got appraisals by certified appraisers. And in our additional negotiations, the town requested that we also purchase another parcel that would square up that lot. And so their appraisal actually was less per acre than our appraisal. So we agreed to accept their appraisal. And so that's where the 280, but this is fair market value according to a certified appraiser.
So you're saying what the reevaluation company did last year was, what was wrong with that? I mean, we paid good money for that reevaluation. Most people I hear saying this was too high. That's why we're having a big backlog on our board of E&R, but not in this case.
Yeah, so the appraisal is, as our assessments are done, they're done based on a schedule of values that are determined by the category of property. When we do a fair market value appraisal with an individual appraiser, there are other considerations that come into that.
I just can't go along with it going from 99,000 to 280,000. That's just,
Yes,
Oh,
sir.
but
Well,
it-
I'll tell you, in both appraisals, that came back were pretty close to the same. So
Okay.
I would say that's probably an accurate
the
assessment. of-
reevaluation
May not be accurate.
may not be accurate. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay.
Any further discussion on, item G on the consent agenda? Hearing none, what's the pleasure for item C and item G?
Move for approval.
We have a motion
Second.
and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
No.
Motion carries. Item number 2, comments from the public. This is a time set aside by the Board of Commissioners to allow individuals 5 minutes to address the board on issues concerning the county. The total time set aside for public comments is 30 minutes. First person we have that has signed up to speak is D. Sams. Please come forward and state your name and address for the clerk, please.
D. Sam, 635 Lake Royale, Lewisburg, 27549. Wanted to address again kind of what I brought up to the committee last time. What I left you guys to kind of go over was the state law that Illinois does for their spay and neuter, and also Massachusetts anti-tethering law. What I'm looking to do is do something like that statewide, but in the meantime, because that's going to have to wait till their next session next spring, so a year from now, to do something much simpler with the county. And I just wanted to go over that and say, I don't expect the county to come up with anything that complex. That would be for the state to do. This would be a very simple ordinance, just mandating that any owned dogs or cats are spayed and neutered between the ages of 4 months and 6 months. Probably do a carve out for hunting dogs if there's an issue there. Also, if somebody is a breeder, as long as they're set up with the American Kennel Club and everything's legit and the place is inspected by animal control and approved that this is not a puppy mill, they're being taken care of well, then carve out for them, obviously. But just your basic owned cat or dog does need to be spayed and neutered. And the anti-tethering part, that will also, tied to that, should be verbiage in there mandating just some basic common sense. The animal needs to have access to clean water 24/7, adequate shelter, needs to not be outside in bad weather, a minimum of a 10 by 20 pin. And again, a carve out for hunting dogs. I think they tie them, if I'm thinking right, with a shelter. So it can be very simply written. I'd be glad to sit down with anybody and just keep it very common sense and simple. This will end up saving the county a lot of money. If we don't do something and come at this from the top end and just let people know, hey, you've got to get your animal spayed or neutered. If you're going to have a dog or cat, that's part of it. It's like if you have a child, you're going to need to buy it shoes and clothes and give it food. It's a basic thing. If you buy a house, you're going to have mortgage, you're going to have insurance, you got to pay taxes, you got to mow the lawn. These are things that we all accept when we take on a responsibility. And a dog or cat is something that is a responsibility. So the end result, if we don't do this, if we don't do something like this, we're going to have to probably double the size of the shelter, hire twice as many people, put down twice as many animals. It's going to cost the county a fortune if we don't come at it from this way. It's much more humane for the animals. It's more humane for the employees to not have to be putting down dogs and cats like crazy. Feral cats are a different thing. Nobody owns them. That's why I say an owned dog or cat. That's a whole nother thing that I'm one of the people that work on for Franklin County, trapping and fixing cats. There's ways to do this where it'll benefit everybody. And there's not going to be some policeman going door to door, show me your papers on your, on your animal. It's just as these things pop up, if a neighbor sees that, hey, they keep letting their dog have kids and they report it to animal control. This will give animal control, finally, the law that allows them to seize an animal if it's not being treated right, or if they're just letting it breed and dumping the puppies on the shelter, which is what happens. And it's massive overcrowding in all of our shelters in North Carolina, but we're just, of course, addressing Franklin County. And that's all we can affect, but we can get ahead of what I hope to pass in the state and do it here on a more simple basis. The statewide law is going to have taxpayer money that helps to fund low-income people. I don't expect the county to do that at all. There's ways for people that are low income to get it done. Pause for Life, we have something called the SNF program. People can apply for a voucher. If they're low income, they can get a free or a very low cost spay and neuter voucher at a vet of their choice. So there are options that the county doesn't have to pay for that stuff. There's private people that'll help with that. So just wanted to ask if that has been looked at, if you guys have moved forward at all on addressing that. And like I said, I would be glad to sit down with any of you and just kind of do an outline of what an ordinance would look like for Franklin County. Have you guys read it and the information that I gave you and looked at doing anything toward making this happen?
It's been 5 minutes. Ms. Sams, your 5 minutes is up.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you. All right, the next person we have that has signed up is Mr. Scott Strickland.
Good evening, Commissioner Scott, Strickland, 8435, Highway 56. Glad to be here again tonight to tell you about the siding work that Bone Cert is doing throughout the county. May's been a busy month. We participated with the airport up there, and it turned out great. I'm just excited. The next one we got to go to will be with the hospital, with the run downtown Lewisburg around the hospital down there that they're putting on. I told you about my class finishing up with advanced travel. Well, they got their letter from the state today to go test, and they're going in June, all of them to test, so that's great. And then the next exciting thing, we're doing another one, but we're going to do a bridge course. It's going to be an EMR to the EMT at the Franklin Fire Department this fall. So we're really excited. I just talked to Steve Barney today, and he's excited with the stuff that we're doing here in Franklin County, and he wants to continue. The more places we can find to do stuff, they're willing to come to do. And so if y'all can get out on the 31st to come out of the hospital and do, and especially tomorrow, get out and come see the seniors. Being we had to put that off, they deserve to reserve them to having fun. And they always have fun, and Mark will be there to DJ, I guess, as always. And Mr. Ford will be there with hot dogs and come hungry. But y'all didn't get a chance to go to the airport. Y'all missed a great show with the people coming in, especially the doctor come in on the two-seater jet. Now that was something. And David, we fed right.
Did you? I'm glad.
Thank y'all.
Thank y'all. Okay, that's it for public comments, and that brings us to item number 3, our action items. So item 3A is our fiscal year 26 budget message and budget presentation. We're gonna ask for Mr. Ryan Preble to come forward and give us that.
All right. Good evening, and thank you, Chairman of the Board of Commissioners. As I prepared this presentation for you tonight, I looked back at all the planning and hard work that went into the FY26 budget, not only by our budget team and department heads, but by the staff who work every day to provide the much-needed services our residents need, and do it with a mindset of servant mentality and ever mindful of the responsibility with being good stewards of our taxpayer dollars. And of course, I'd like to thank our Board of Commissioners for the collaborative approach we took to this year's budget and the vision and guidance they provided throughout this process. This budget is designed to support continued growth, meet community needs, and uphold fiscal responsibility. The FY26 budget reflects our commitment to maintaining conservative revenue estimates and responsible spending plans. The budget adheres to North Carolina general statutes, fiscal policies, and federal guidelines. Focus areas include technology-driven efficiencies, staff training, long-term planning in response to population growth. Franklin County is now the 52nd fastest growing county in the U.S. under 1 million in population. That is a impressive stat. We are the fastest growing county in the Triangle and the second fastest in North Carolina. Population is now nearly 80,000 and projected to reach over 125,000 by 2045. Our budget must always seek to address the impacts of this growth across all services. The unemployment rate in Franklin County is a low 3.2%, reflecting a strong job market compared to which is relatively low and indicative of a stable local labor market. This compares favorably to the North Carolina unemployment rate currently at 3.7%. There's been an 11% increase in single-family housing permits, signaling further demand for infrastructure and services across the county. Inflation is currently at 2.3% nationally, slightly down from 2.4% last month, and 2.9% this time last year. The FY26 general fund is recommended at $131,453,061. The recommended budget will allow us to maintain and enhance services while planning for future needs. I'm recommending a property tax rate of 0.505 per $100 of valuation, which is no change from this current year, fiscal year 25. Each penny on the tax rate equates to approximately $1,299,141 in revenue. This supports key services such as operations, emergency response, and infrastructure. The recommendation is for 16 full-time and 4 part-time positions to meet increasing service demands. Costs are just under $1 million for those positions. I'm also recommending 4 new vehicles, 2 for inspections and 2 for EMS, totaling just over $268,000. These investments support operational efficiency and timely service delivery. Employee compensation. Our Pay for Performance program enters its second year and will continue to evolve based on feedback. This budget includes a recommended 2.5% cost of living adjustment effective October 10th, 2025 for all employees. In front of you is several fee schedule changes. I won't go through all of them. I'll just highlight a few of those. We're proposing several fee adjustments across return, for example, return checks, facility rentals, airport services, and animal services. Animal services changes include providing spay-neuter vouchers and removing rescue fees, which have been an obstacle to streamlining this process in years past. Continuing with the fee schedule changes, we've included some updates to a few of our library fees, our parks and recs. We propose modest increases to youth program fees, shelter rentals, and basketball court reservation. These changes ensure continued support for recreation programming and facility maintenance. The FY26 budget recommends $32,541,812 in total support for Franklin County Public Schools. This is $30,541,812 for current local expense or operations, and $2 million for capital outlay. This supports our commitment to public education and facility needs. I want to say I appreciate both our boards and staff's communication during this budget process. Thank you. Advanced Granville Community College, we propose $389,168. Of that, $369,168 for operations and $20,000 for capital improvements. Education remains a vital investment for workforce and community development. We will continue to work with Advanced Granville to address needs and future initiatives. And I'll take a little break for the numbers just to show you as we head into FY '26 some capital projects that we're moving through. I wanted to give you a quick snapshot of where we stand on several of these projects as we head to next fiscal year. Several of our EMS station projects are underway or planned. The Airport Road EMS Station number 12, completion is expected in fall of 2025. Bunn EMS Station 2 is also looking to complete in the fall of 2025. And our Franklinton EMS Station and Senior Center is currently in design phases. Our judicial complex is currently in permitting and expected completion by fall of 2027. Our Parks and Rec capital projects, Owens Park pickleball courts ready by June of this year. And Epsom Park Phase 1 is expected to complete in fall of 2025. I've also included the fire department tax rate increases that were requested. Several fire departments have requested modest tax rate increases. Increases range from 25 cents to $1.16 per $100 of evaluation. And those are in front of you and in your budget books for your review. On our public utilities overview, public utilities now serves over 10,280 customers. That is up 3.68% from last year at this time. The recommended FY '26 budget is $25,002,500, reflecting growth and system needs. The utilities rate changes, those are before you for your review, and they're also in your budget books. There's a lot of detail there, so I'll go over just a few of those things. Proposed rate changes will take effect with the September 2025 billing cycle. Those rates are available in your budget books as well. These adjustments ensure continued funding for system maintenance and upgrades. Some additional public utility fees I wanted to put in front of you are a new minor plan review fee of $75 is proposed for small development projects, as well as some other increases such as our security deposit amounts. Other adjustments help align service fees with the actual cost. Public utilities equipment request. FY '26 budget does not include any new positions for public utilities. However, it does recommend $718,000 in equipment, including dump trucks, trailers, excavation, and service vehicles. These are all critical for system operation and emergency repairs. The public utilities capital projects, we're investing just over $3.1 million in additional capital utility projects next fiscal year. This includes upgrades to water and sewer mains, pump stations, and treatment infrastructure. The solid waste budget totals $6,466,613. The solid waste fee remains at $110. And in this budget is an increase to some of the part-time salaries. Some of the key investments in solid waste are camera systems, containers, and tipping floor refinishing at the transfer station. Finally, before we finish, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank all of our employees for their hard work and dedication with all the challenges we face in moving our community forward in a physically sound manner. Our employees are mindful of budget constraints and continue to look for ways to improve service delivery. Staff's interaction with the public proves their sense of loyalty and commitment to Franklin County. I would also like to acknowledge the assistance from all our department directors and those staff members directly involved with the budget process. Special thanks to Assistant County Manager Scott Hemmerbacher, Finance Director Jamie Holtzman, Human Resources and Risk Management Director Kelly Faulkner for their dedication in developing, balancing, and compiling the recommended budget. On behalf of all our employees, I'm honored to present this recommended budget to the Franklin County Board of Commissioners for fiscal year 25 and 26. I look forward to working with you to move the county forward. Thank you.
Mr. Preble. Are there any questions for Mr. Preble at this time?
I have one.
Yes, sir.
How's your fund balance doing? Your undesignated fund balance
We're at $24.5 million.
on the undesignated.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Projected. Sorry. Thank you. Projected. Thank you all. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're being asked to receive the presentation and call for a public hearing on June the 2nd, 2025.
Make a motion to hold our public hearing on June 2nd, 2025 for our annual budget.
Second. Have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item number 4 is our board, manager, and clerk's comments. This is a time set aside for the Board of County Commissioners, county manager, and clerk to the board to report on various activities. The board may also discuss other items of interest. I will start with Ms. Gina McCray. Nothing for Kristen. Mr. Ford.
Yeah, the only thing I have to comment on, tomorrow, we're doing our spring day in the park for the seniors. It's in Riverbend Park from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. It was originally for last week at Thursday, but all that Wednesday rain kind of threw it off track. So it's on go for tomorrow from 10 to 2. So hope everybody can make it. Come hungry and thirsty. Have plenty to hand out. That's all I have.
Very good. Mr. Davis?
Yeah, just wanted to, if you missed Saturday in Youngsville, they had their 150-year celebration. It was a really, really good turnout. It was a great day. My kids ran all over town and picked them up several hours later. So, but Town of Youngsville did a really good job. And so I wanted to give a shout out to those guys, and thank you for Brian and Chief Christmas and his staff, and Matt was out there too, and with the EMS. So thank you guys, and I think it was pretty successful. So
Vice Chairman Schreiber.
I'll also echo, Youngsville was great. We had some family in town with some nieces, and so we took in the Youngsville Festival as well as the Air Fest, and so that was cool to go out there and see some of the old cars, and that private jet, the 2-seater, looks like a fighter pilot jet, was pretty cool. And then there's also a small corporate jet that kind of got out of there about 11 o'clock, and that thing made a heck of a sound getting away from there. It was pretty sharp, but it was just good to see folks out there, and a lot of kids, a lot of baby strollers. Saw some folks from church hadn't seen in a while. So it was just nice. It was a great day, and a little bit of rain, but people still came out. I was very surprised to see the turnout. So it's good to see that Franklin County's getting out and rubbing elbows again from these few years of COVID. So, and I have one more thing to speak to. It's kind of close to my heart, and I know Dee very well. Wherever she is, wherever she went to, there she is. I appreciate your efforts and your passion for this spay and neuter, and I do agree with you that something needs to be done. But tomorrow marks the 1-year anniversary of me bearing a very precious pet of mine of 13 and a half years. I would never have had those 13 and a half years with that dog if your policy was in place. Because 2 of my close friends who hunt had a male and female dog, and they thought they were such good animals that they wanted their lineage to carry on. And I know several people in the community, because they had 8 puppies, that we still talk about how wonderful those dogs were in our lives. And so I really struggle with the line you're asking to be crossed, because that's 13 years of my life I wouldn't give it for. So I think there's ways to make things happen where you don't take everyone's liberties and you still can address the problem. So thank you for yielding that time for me.
Commissioner May.
Yes, sir. I went to the fifth annual North Fire Fest show. Great show they put on. Good car show too. I didn't drive no helicopter. I wanted to drive one, but they told me I could. They said you try that bull if you want to. But also, I want to make an appointment tonight for the Board of Aging. Susan Parrish. I'm making a recommendation for Susan Parrish to the Board of Aging Advisory Board.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, that motion carries.
Is it?
All right,
Thank
thank you. Mr. Speed,
No comment.
Ms. Brad.
It's been busy. I had 2 executive board meetings at the COG because they're doing their budget. It's all intense and all that stuff. Plus a regular COG board meeting in the last 2 weeks because it's budget time. So we got to vote on and look at their budget and stuff. Also, Small Business Week was last week, and there were several events around the county, recognizing small businesses and all. And in Franklinton, they held one at Sugar Grinder, so I did attend that small business. I don't know if y'all attend any of those events, but I know they were all over the county. And that's the only things I attended, but I just want to make one comment. And I talked about it this weekend with someone, and we talked about this. We talk about recreation and things in the county, and there's nothing for the kids to do and all that stuff. That's not totally true, because every weekend there's 2 events on Saturday in the county, one at Youngsville and one at the airport. Every weekend my calendar has something that's kind of recreational or whatever that you can attend, that the kids can go and, like Logan's kids playing all over Youngsville. And I know they had a ball. There's all kinds of events and things that they have at those events for the kids to do while they're there. So there are things for, on the weekends. My calendar stays full, and there's stuff. I attended stuff this weekend also in Franklin County. There's stuff going on all the time here. I can hardly keep up. So I just want to make that comment to y'all, that, look at your calendars and think about all these things that are going on every weekend. That's all I got.
All righty, thank you, Ms. Bragg. Mr. Prep.
Chairman, I also attended the Air Fest, and it was a great time. There's a lot of people out there. I was really surprised to see the weather held out. I was worried we were going to have some issues with weather, but you see that held off, and we were able to have a great time. Great event, a lot of cars out there as well. I just want to thank our staff for not only the planning piece of it, but the execution and the safety they brought to the event. There was a lot going on there, a lot of people. So I just want to say thank you to, and I know I'm going to leave somebody out, but I just want to thank our emergency management staff, our EMS staff, the airport staff, Civil Air Patrol. As I said, I'm sure I've left somebody out, but those are the ones that I talked to, and I appreciate everybody's help on that. Really a great event. Looking forward to it next year. Thank you.
Very good. And I would like to say I appreciate the hard work and dedication that our staff and our departments are making this budget year a lot easier than it has been in the past. And kudos to everyone who chipped in, school, sheriff, everyone. I really appreciate that. So that brings us to item number 5, our closed session. The board is asked to enter into closed session pursuant to the following North Carolina general statutes. NCGS 143-318.11A3, attorney-client privilege communication. NCGS 143-318.11A5, real property purchases, contracts, and leases. And NCGS 143-318.11A6, personnel. What's the pleasure?
Go into closed session.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? Second. Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
No.
Motion carries. One more.
Need one more? Scott looks lonely. Scott looks lonely sitting over there. Okay. He said, I'm good. I'm good.
I'll entertain a motion to come out of closed session.
Yeah, second.
And a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right,
Do we have a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn.
All in